In order to return home and be reunited with her father, Aurora must retrieve the sun, the moon, and the stars, which have been stolen from Lumeria by an evil queen.
Then Umbra's dark creatures conquered the land. Our lives soon snuffed out by a wave of her hand.
Yes, the Dark Queen. Despite bearing a likeness to Sleeping Beauty, Child of Light actually takes more inspiration from the stories and animations of Studio Ghibli, which you'll really notice in the quirky characters you encounter throughout the realm and the absolutely stunning art style. Oh, Barjo, this game! Dreamy washes of watercolor bleeding from one scene into the next. It's so beautiful.
It's really unique, isn't it? This game is made with the Rayman engine, and you can really feel that in the fluidity of the movement. I love the way her hair drifts about her as if she were underwater. It all adds to the dreamlike aspect of this story.
Yeah, it's very surreal, isn't it? Kind of like Alice in Wonderland falling down the rabbit hole and finding herself in this strange new world filled with wacky creatures. And I love the way everyone speaks in rhyme. So much thought has gone into the writing.
Yeah, there's some nice humour in there as well, although I do find buttoning through the dialogue in these types of games generally a little tedious. Aurora navigates her surroundings with basic platforming and a little bit of puzzle solving until she gets her wings. She's also joined by a little sprite, who can collect light to help her out in dark places. You can choose to take control of him, or a second player can jump in.
It's not long before Aurora encounters some pretty nasty creatures though, and this is where you get stuck into some serious turn-based battles. As Aurora levels up, you can apply skill points into a sprawling tree that grant her with a variety of skills in defense, magical attacks, health, and so on. You can choose to focus on one particular area of the tree, but I decided to make her a bit of an all-rounder.
You also find crystal fragments throughout the realm that can be applied to Aurora's weapons and gear. And each of these have different effects depending on where they are placed. Combinations of crystals can also be crafted to create new ones. I really enjoyed the depth of the RPG elements in this game.
Me too, and I was so glad for it. You know, normally I'm not a huge fan of this kind of turn-based combat. I just find the fights repetitive and drawn out and a little bit boring. But it's so clever the way they've crafted the encounters in this game.
They're edge-of-your-seat type battles, aren't they? Which I really wasn't expecting from this lovely princess platformer.
Aurora also picks up friends and travelers along the way who have additional quests and requests for her to complete, and in return agree to fight in her party.
Yes, and this is where you can be strategic in how you apply skill points to other characters. One can be a good healer with the ability to revive allies, and another with a strong magic damage focus, for example.
And you can apply crystals to each party member too, which adds even more complexity. Because often with 3 enemies that appear in a fight, you don't know what their strengths and vulnerabilities will be. So if you have a party member with defense against a particular element, and another with fire damage, for example, that can hit against those vulnerable to it, you can almost cover all your bases if you're clever.
Yeah, there's also real skill in the timing of all your plays. Every character in your party and every enemy moves at a different speed. There's a bar to indicate all of the characters moving through the turn, with a red combat bar at the end. I love this system, Hex. It means knowing when to defend and when to go for an attack, potentially leaving yourself vulnerable, is really hard to judge.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'll ever fully get the hang of this, but that's why it's such a great balancing act. Often I just play it safe and defend when I shouldn't, and then I'd essentially be wasting a turn.
Yeah, but making the call to try and get a hit in, only to have it interrupted and taking loads of damage, leaves you kicking yourself for your mistake.
Exactly, but I always love a game that allows you to learn from your mistakes. Plus, enemy encounters have so many variables that you're never really able to rest on your laurels.
To further complicate things, some enemies have attacks that can speed themselves up, or slow you and your team down. But you'll also pick up characters who have similar abilities.
Plus, your little sprite friend can use light to blind enemies and slow them down as you fight.
It does run out quickly though, and you need to go back to little light trees to get more, and you have to have that left trigger held down the entire time you want that light in effect, so there's so much to be thinking about at once in battles.
Yeah, like bigger, stronger attacks use more magic points, and you really don't want to leave yourself with nothing at the end. You better hope you have a sneaky potion if that happens.
Yeah, potions are invaluable. You need to search high and low for hidden chests because there are little vials of magic hidden all over the place if you take the time to find them, and it's really worth doing that. What did you think of it overall, Hex?
I just love how much personality this game has. It's so whimsical, but then there's this incredibly sophisticated and layered combat system. The soundtrack is stunning too, strings and piano sounds to complement Aurora as she tumbles through the air. I adored this. I'm giving it 9 out of 10.
I agree, it's a thoughtfully made game that draws all of its influences together to create something truly unique, but also challenging. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens. And now it's time for Goose News!